Thanks for watching Film Buff, really, honestly. It's fucking great.
Ragnar fucking Lothbrok, man.
Cut them.
He's still sick. He's still a little bit sick. Fuck off, Kelf. So they didn't know. Man, I fucking love this character, man. Ragnar Lothbrok.
Why did you not tell us earlier? Did you not trust us?
I did what my father asked me to do. But it is the way he wanted to do it, and he is still king. And he succeeded. He got us into Paris.
And now we have even more spoils.
I will stay.
No.
Rolo.
You have no reason to stay here, Floki.
And what reason do you have, Uncle? Then it is decided. You will winter here with the rest of the warriors who decide to stay with you.
You will have to offer them even more money.
More than that.
I will have to offer them even more than that. I must offer them something far more precious to me than gold or silver. I must offer your hand in marriage.
This is Count Odo's doing.
But I am also the Emperor of Francia. And it is not your father who asks this of you. It is the Emperor. And therefore, you will obey him.
The Emperor also offers the hand in marriage of his beautiful daughter, Princess Gisela.
Rolo's like, it's all coming together now.
What must I do in return?
Et pour l'instant, quel échange demandé?
Oh.
D'ici en avant, Paris défendre devait contre les esforces de parler Notman. Qui que c'est?
You will defend Paris against your brother.
She shouldn't be too upset. Rolo's a catch.
Ma fille. Gisela.
Qu'est-ce que disent mes pères, tel Bestaille ne prendrait mis à père. Fille de grand lignage suis, non de folle pute garçonnière. Ni elles audrait air de vivre qu'à s'offrir que telle glotte des putères matochaste. Païen est, de ville estras, si amnad, tel totes besternez. Azors guignon et as brognon, miel audrait mon pucelage par puterie livrée cad isestui gosse vilain. Pas trop méorts. Gossier cuide.
J'avoue, salut.
She's like, oh, is that right? That smile. So once again, Rolo versus Ragnar. I hate seeing that, man. I really hated that in season 2.
You killed that lieutenant.
Whoa. What a finale, guys. Alright, man. Season 3. Man, 3 seasons in, man. This is exciting, you know. I have one more season to go. Thankfully there's 20 episodes in season 4, so you know that's amazing. And yeah, man, this episode of the show, it brought me to tears. You know, I just like this character so much, man. I've definitely developed a deep attachment to Ragnar. I care so much for him, man. And you know, that scene, you know, before I go into any of it, to me the best scene, absolute best scene of this finale, or even the season itself, all of season 3, was that shot of Ragnar, man, as he's got the princess and he lets her go. He kind of shoves her, and then he turns around, man. And then before any of that happens, oh my god, there's this epic shot of like Bjorn just like, that's all, man. That's the signal. And then everyone's just rushing in. But this is where the shot comes in. Oh my god, man. I was covered in goosebumps. It was all of King Ragnar's men just running through the tunnel, but it was a tracking shot of Ragnar going the opposite direction, right? And the score in the background, the music that was playing, it was the same music they used in Hardbard. Once Hardbard showed up, and that it has such a mystical, epic feel to it. And slow motion, if used right, can make a scene just amazing. And I felt like this was a perfect use for this for slow motion. I got super emotional, man. Just to see him walking out, I don't know, man, it just brought me to tears. That's just how my body reacted. And then he embraces Bjorn and kind of falls to his knees, and Bjorn, like a loving son, he's got his hand on his back. Powerful, man. Again, not too many things can bring me to tears. So the man tears are flowing, man. The man tears are flowing. So, as you saw, this show means a lot to me, man. Especially Ragnar, I love a lot of the main the core group of characters, like Ragnar. Such an amazing character, man. Let's go to the ending of the episode. Ragnar finally tells Floki point blank, "You killed Athelstan." And he has this eerie, playful smile on his face, and of course Floki's reaction to that wasn't similar. He was more like, "Oh shit." So a bit of a cliffhanger, bit of foreshadowing in terms of what season 4 might bring. I don't like to make predictions, because I'm not the type of person who wants to be like, yes, my prediction was right. But based on that scene right at the end, it feels like Floki and Ragnar are not going to get back to the good old days. It feels like they're still going to keep butting heads. And I don't think Ragnar's going to forgive him. I don't think he can forgive him for killing Athelstan. So that makes for an interesting season 4 in terms of Floki and Ragnar, man. Excited to see how that plays out. And it's like an ongoing thing. The seer, he's like such an amazing source of foreshadowing. He was definitely right about the bear is gonna marry the princess. They didn't quite show the princess agreeing to it as Rolo came in. It's probably gonna end up happening. And Rolo, his last shot for the season was him, he had this line memorized and he tries to impress them and he's got this smirk on his face, and the princess was kind of like, like not quite 100% impressed, but like she was like, oh, okay, he's got something about him, or like he's trying, or something like that. But what that means is that once again Rolo finds himself against Ragnar, and this time the promise of riches and marrying the princess, much grander than season 2, and him and Jarl Borg, that was more of like a glory type thing. This is more of like, man, if I make this move, I'm gonna be a big deal, man. This is gonna change my life, finally leave his shadow. So it looks like he's agreed to it. Once again, looks like I'll get to see Ragnar and Rolo go at it. But maybe, who knows, maybe Rolo can do something here. Maybe he doesn't have to betray Ragnar and his people. Maybe he can somehow do something here. And in terms of Rolo, this kind of takes me back to the beginning of the episode now. There's a shot of Floki talking to him. He's like, Athelstan poisoned his mind, and Rolo, agrees. He's like, yes, I think you're right. And at that point, to me, it felt like he's about to, transform into the old Rolo again. And throughout the episode, I kind of see glimpses of old Rolo, as he's in there by the coffin. That's supposed to have his body in it, but instead of being sad, he was more like, oh, you thought you were a god, but you're just a man. So like, I feel like this whole baptism trick that Ragnar pulled really got to Rolo as well. I'm talking about Ragnar. I'm kind of jumping back and forth here, but that was, it was clear something is off. It's Ragnar. They're not going to just skip a death scene for Ragnar, the main character of the show. So something was definitely off that whole episode. And there's a few clues. He at one point he's asking Bjorn, I need you to do something, and kind of cuts off. Then after that, Bjorn kind of comes out of the tent, and the 4 guys that go in, one of them was that crazy guy. He's got like the guy liner and the long hair. I've seen him a couple of times now, and he's like one of those crazy fighters, right? Like all of them are, but like I've seen him a few times being this crazy guy, and he was the same guy who's shoving Rolo back in Kattegat. That made me think something was up, and he was even part of the crew that carried the coffin into Paris. Indeed, it was a plan, a grand plan. Now the French are a little bit stupid, for just letting them right in, and just trusting them about this. It was a good move, Of course, for a little bit, it alienated almost all of his camp, probably, other than Bjorn and like Lagatha, but it played out perfectly, man. Trojan horse, right? Shows up in the coffin, Ragnar just pops out. Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, motherfucker.
And again, the seer, I see that the dead are gonna conquer Paris. And Ragnar being the dead. So yeah, man, the seer is a boss in terms of predictions and foreshadowing. Good move. And he kept it a secret. He only wanted Bjorn to know about this. And of course everyone was upset about this, but Bjorn reminded them he's the king. He's still the king, and that's what he wanted. In terms of the princess, she's impressive, she's got this fire to her. Princess Gisla, something like that. Yeah, she's not scared to question the Emperor Charles in front of all their people, the common folk. Because he was like, oh, Paris has resisted these pagans, these outsiders, and she's like, oh, you just bought them off. That's not that big a deal, and only if Charlemagne was here, he would be so proud. And she's like, oh yeah, you think so? So she was like, straight up point blank questioning him in front of all of their people. So she, I like that she's got this fire about her. She would make a good couple, her and Rolo. Let's talk about Helga and Floki. That seems like the ship is sailed, right? That seems like that's it. It's finished. Helga knows that he killed Athelstan, and she can't seem to forgive him for that. She can't come back from that. And fair enough, right? Like, she knew Athelstan as a peaceful man, a good man who didn't really, cause any problems for anyone. Well, not according to Floki, but to her, she can't see past that anymore. She knows that her husband killed this innocent man. He's always had this rock in the shape of Helga throughout the seasons, and now she's fed up. She's been fed up for 2-3 episodes now, right? So yeah, I want to see how Floki handles all of this. First of all, the ever-loving, supportive Helga has left his side. Second, Ragnar has told him, I know what you did. So Floki is not in a good spot right now. But yeah, man, so Ragnar, pulls him aside. Even though he didn't die, there's just this feeling of like his reign's about to end. He's just, just because of his condition, he's so beat down, like he never really recovered from that fall. But he pulls he pulls Bjorn aside in the room, and he tells him not to rule with his heart, but his mind, his brain, his head. So he's making sure he lets him know how it's going to be done, because at one point he's going to take over. Those are some big boots to fill, Bjorn. So you better learn, my boy. And quickly, about that lady who kind of, seduced Count Odo. And she might have regretted that a little bit later once he takes her to his creepy sex dungeon. I got the feeling that maybe she might be more than just a random trying to, climb the ladder. But I felt like that scene was kind of useless. It's pointless in this finale. Going back to the, the goodbyes, because at this point everyone thought Ragnar has passed away. I talked about Rolo's. Let's talk about Lagatha. She was crushed. And she mentioned that she's always loved him. She never stopped loving him. And of course you could tell. It sucked that she had to leave because of Aslog and what her husband did. She didn't want to, because she loved him, and he loves her still. And she hoped that even though he's been baptized, that Odin is gonna pull him back in. And she's gonna meet him once again in the afterlife, and they're gonna fight and make love forever. So it was good. Lagatha was really crushed by this. Floki started off by calling him a traitor, and you loved Athelstan more than him, even though I loved you all my life. But yeah, I think I've covered it all, man. good finale, man. Really good finale. Once again, you know, I love this character so much. Ragnar, dude brought me to tears this episode. Another season done. I've heard some good things about season 4, man. You know, so I'm hoping to start that soon, you know, in the next few days. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed that, please smash that thumbs up, leave your comments, let me know what you guys thought. I'm gonna try my best to reply to as many comments as I can. Once again, if you're on social media, hit me up, look me up guys. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, I have a Patreon account. Thank you so much once again to all my amazing patrons. You know, I really appreciate it. Alright guys, so there it is. Season 3 is in the books. The characters, you know, they mean so much to me, especially Ragnar. So I'm happy I have 20 more episodes of this. But yeah, man, thanks for dropping by. Take it easy.